Mushroom. Mushrooms can grow in boxes, but have you ever grown a box mushroom and seen what they grow into when you slip into an alternate timeline? They don't grow into anything. The box is empty. But holy shiitake, what happened to your face? Today I'm trying to win as a trog in Outward. There are some limitations. A lot of limitations. Playing as a trog, I can only use spears and polearms. I can't wear armor, can't carry bags, and I can't use any active skills. It says equip, but it doesn't actually let me equip. It's a lie. It is a dirty, dirty lie. I can't even use a lantern to light my way in the dark. I'll also be using no legacy items. I am trog, and only trog. Also, the plot doesn't change, the story doesn't change, and nobody acknowledges that you're a trog. Not even the other trogs. I'm just a normal person. Ain't nothing strange about me. Don't worry about that glowing tumor on my back. Oh shit, look at the way he runs. After a night's sleep, I wake up out of my bed, go downstairs, and
rise and shine, trog spawn.
The villagers are all outside of the house, and they want me to pay a blood price. I will lose my house and become a homeless trog if I do not do this.
You'll regret you ever came home!
So, I must do this. My inventory space is constantly maxed out, and I can carry nothing. But I can't do anything about that. So I freeform goof run through Sierra, down through the tunnels, get consumed by the darkness, find a couple of trogs who want to poke me. I poke them back, blindly make my way to the beach, where I find the injured man and get a tribal favor. Blood price resolved. Didn't even have to die. Much. Woo! I'm gonna die. With the blood price paid off, I can focus on getting some supplies to wreck my limited inventory even harder. I grab the water canteen, cook some tea, jerky, and I also pick up a quest to go to the Trog Cave since I want to get some general loot and money. Inside the cave, I get ridiculously lucky, and the first thing I find is an iron spear. I pick some fights with the other trogs, but quickly learn that I can't kill anything because they all run away when their health is low, and my little trog arms attack way too slow to catch them. The main hall has a magic trog that can two-shot me, so I just grab the quest item and run. Aside from the extra silver for completing the quest, I picked up a mushroom while in the cave, and I heard that if you combine that with clothing, you can get new trog gear. So I mashed the mushroom into the clothes to see what would happen. I became swag trog. Now that I am a swag trog, my ego inflated so hard that I thought I could take on the fortress. With this armor, you could definitely take some hits. I almost killed Croc, but my health dropped so low that I panic ran out of the building. I could have tried to get better at combat, but instead of struggling, I set out on a quest to make as many traps as possible. That way I can win without expending any effort. While out getting the materials to craft, I so happened to grill a mushroom. I was going to eat the mushroom until I had a flash of inspiration. I do the only sane thing you can do with a grilled mushroom and crush it into my clothing. And let me tell you, holy heck, I am double swag now. I am swag trog squared. The new outfit gives pocket space, while the previous one gives a lot of protection. Given my constant status of being fat while also trying to make as many traps as possible, I decided to use swag trog squared. When I returned to the fortress, I foolishly only set up a couple traps and thought I could finish him off by poking him with my stick. This has cost me greatly. Croc two-taps me and I end up in the slave dungeon. Fudge. My only options now are to mine every day until I can pay off the guards or jump into the death pit. All my items were taken and placed in the fortress, so if I want my hundreds of traps back, I have to work the mines. So I spent several days suffering in the mines until I can make enough silver to bribe the guard. When I get all my stuff back, I immediately turn around and head back into the fortress. This time, I use as many traps as possible. I am not taking any more chances. When Croc dies, I kite the two guards back and forth while placing a trap in one room to hit them every now and then. I am now a complete coward. I repeat the same tactics for the next two fortress bosses, and I managed to win by only swinging my weapon once. It kind of feels like I cheated. With the bandit lords taken care of, it's back to the main quest. Sort of. I need to pick a faction to join, but the one that I want to join might prevent me from getting a particular weapon. So I'm gonna just nab that first, before I commit to anything. To get the weapon, I need to visit every region in the game and talk to a particular NPC. Not hard to do, just very time consuming. It was mostly an uneventful jog, but after running the longest marathon of my life, the Immaculate sees me as a good enough friend to hand over the spear. The joke's on him though, I'm about to join the faction that will immediately make him hostile. I am scamming him right now. I literally earned his trust to obtain his weapon just to use it against him and his people. I guess that's pretty cold-blooded, ain't it? Now that I got a pretty dang good weapon, it's time to pick a faction to join. I'll be going with the Holy Mission of Alat, since they give the most passive buffs, and I'm a trog, so passives are the only thing I got going for me. For initiation, they want me to craft a potion and talk to God, who doesn't seem to mind that I'm a trog. It's a 3-day wait until I'm given my first task, so I decide to pass the time by mining for profits at the Conflux Mountain. Wow, look at all those guys over there, dude. Wow, you should go fight them. For my first faction quest, they want me to burn a weed and inhale it, to have visions. A side quest then leads me to a giant tree where I fight some bandits and get my ass kicked. Inside the tree is their main hideout where I once again abuse the traps until I can't because one guy won't chase me down the hallway of death. We end up having a fair duel that costs me the majority of my health potions and bandages, and I'm kind of confused how I won. I again create another death hallway where I take out the main boss and safely pick up my remaining traps. Only it wasn't safe. As I turn around, I walk right into a mage and I'm in combat again. This time with no traps to save my life. I again almost die, but somehow don't. This place cost me all my bandages, potions, and traps, but at least I cleared it. That's a cool flying pizza you got there, dude. I think I'm relying on these traps a bit too much, but I'm scared. Especially since the next area has a Wendigo in it, and the traps are the only reason I managed to win that fight. There's a locked door, so I take a run through the green smog to figure out how to get through. I reassemble a broken skeleton who promises he'll help me, and that gets me to the main tomb, where I have to fight a gauntlet of spooky ghosts that almost claim my helpless trog life. And the girl I was with explodes into light or something. Now I have to wait 3 more days before they'll give me the next quest. During the 3-day wait for the next mission, I stopped by Hermatan so I could kill some elementals to do some enchanting. A 100-day timer started, but I decided to just ignore it. No idea what happens if you don't make it in time, but I ain't gonna make it in time, just saying. The next quest sends me to check on some key members of the Holy Mission to make sure they're okay. I just pressed the wrong button, I am so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the glowing girl, so I'm just gonna call her Ollie. Oliel? Ollie tells me there's been an attack. Zephyrian is missing and I have to go looking for him in the nearby hives. When I enter, there's a tough enemy that's a struggle to fight. I can barely pick away at this guy's health, but I get lucky and a couple bugs make their way into the room and defeat him for me. When I find Zephyrian, he's been poisoned and dies. I kinda liked him, so that's a shame. On the way back to Berg, I stop by the burnt outpost and free Rissa from the dungeon, which gets me a tribal favor. Back in Monsoon, Ollie heads out to go to the desert, and shortly after, I'm tasked to go find her. We head to the Stone Titan cave together, which turns out to be a dark maze filled with corruption and enemies that hit really hard. The bottom of the cave, I ran into some kind of ogre and a ton of other enemies, and I got so spooked, I just ran as fast as I could to the other end of the cave. That's where I found Ollie wandering around a room, but I couldn't interact with her, which I assume is some sort of bug. Since I was at a loss of what to do, I backtracked into the spooky room to try to pick off the enemies I ran past earlier. I dragged one back to the room Ollie was in, and it turns out she helps you fight. This works against me moments later as she runs off by herself into a room full of monsters. For real, she's just dead. Oh, she dead. I tried fighting the ogre with the help of some traps, but got stuck in a corner and was crushed by his terrifying electric weapon. With the help of chugging potions, round 2 against the ogre goes much better. And when the ogre dies, Ollie magically gets up like nothing ever happened and she didn't just eat dirt. Ollie decides she wants to confront God himself, and turns out Burrow is just a giant floating torso. Torso God himself wants me to go yell at some of his disciples, where I accidentally click my way into successfully persuading them to be good people. Now it's time for the final quest. I've been tasked with stopping a war. To get Blue Chamber to cooperate, I pay off 2 of their leaders with a couple tribal favors I've been holding on to. But there's a 3rd leader who I can't pay off, so I just bully him a little. Imagine losing to a trog. Getting Blue Chamber to cooperate wasn't so bad, but getting Levant to cooperate is another story. First off, you can't even enter the city. They locked everyone out. There's a full-blown coup going on right now, so I gotta sneak in through the back dungeon. Inside the dungeon, there's traps inside, and I fall for it. Quite literally. When I make it through the dungeons and into the throne room, I see the king and queen gasping for breath on the floor. I'm attacked by the woman who did it and wanted to crown herself as the new queen. Yazan decides to help me, but instead immediately gets bodied and ragdolls on the ground. Fighting her hurts a little too much, so after getting a few hits in, I went back to Old Reliable and started placing traps here and there to get her health low enough that I could just swing a couple of times and win. I'm cheating again, I know. After I win, Yazan gets back up like he never got completely wrecked. The king is also fine now, but the queen apparently is not. She becomes the bargaining chip to get Levant to cooperate. That is, God will save her life if they all come to the negotiating table and stop the war. When this goes well, everyone agrees war is bad, harmony is restored, but with one caveat. To save the queen, we gotta turn her into a god. And when we do that, a scourge will appear. Oh boy. So I'm sent to the front lines to fight for the holy mission of kicking Scourge butt. The battle itself was a little anticlimactic since everything dies with very minimal effort. I guess it's because we got a whole army here helping me. Even the main big bad, the Butcher of Men, was already at only half his health before I ever even attacked him. The Cardinal thanks me and my job is done. Peace has been restored. Honestly, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It felt very clunky at the start when I had nothing and only a fishing spear as a weapon, but after getting a decent weapon and collecting enough items to make traps and potions, the game played pretty smoothly and being a trog wasn't so bad. By the way, I did fail the quest that had a 100-day timer on it, but when I went back to Hermatan, nothing seemed to have changed in the city. Seems there's just a reward decrease, that or it's glitched out. Guess the city didn't need saving after all since it says that they just did it themselves. Well, that was my trog journey. Thanks for tuning in.